Hey, what's going on YouTube? It's your boy Ivan here. And since we're pretty much just not really under quarantine anymore, I've been back at work for like 2 months, but it's been kind of slowing down lately at work. So I've been getting out like earlier, and I've had a bunch of free time. And since I'm 10 weeks sober from any alcohol, because I'm just decided to take a break. Uh, I've been saving a lot of money, so I've been buying a lot more Yu-Gi-Oh cards. So I have a bunch of decks that I've been working on, and also just when I'm been bored, every chance I get, I usually just play test on Dueling Nexus because you can play it on your phone, which is pretty cool. And you can play against bots, or you can play against people. It's just really a really cool thing to have. I wish we would have had something like this years ago. I don't know how long Dueling Nexus has been around. Probably has been for a while, but it's just really cool to build decks. Just be able to test it against like certain decks. Of course, it's nothing like playing in real life, because in real life there's like certain things you can do like differently. But it's just cool being able to practice your deck, get the combos right. And this is a deck that I've actually used to play way back. I think it was like 2010 or 2011. I forgot when this deck actually came out. I probably should have looked that up. But this deck was the first meta deck that I ever completed. It's Inzektors. I remember trading like pretty much like 20 cards to get the Inzektor Hornets back in the day, because back in the day they were like around $30 for just one copy. And I remember buying a box of Order of Chaos, and I pulled like everything except the Hornets. So I had like one Hornet, and I was playing the deck with just one. Then I was able to get two. Then I finally completed the deck, and it was like the first time that I ever top locals was playing with this deck. So I just decided to, kind of like nostalgic type feeling, to build it again. And I'm just gonna get into the profile. This deck is in serious need of like real support, because they did get a link monster a couple years ago, but to be honest, the link monster sucks. Well, it doesn't suck, but it's not what they needed. This deck really needs like more Inzektor monsters that detach and then let you get your effects. So we're gonna start off with 3 Dragonfly. Dragonfly is like the best card in the deck. Basically, they all have the same effect that you can equip. Sorry about my fingers. I was eating hot Cheetos and I just noticed that they're like super red. But you can equip an Inzektor monster from your hand or graveyard to this monster, and then they get effects whenever you detach that equipped monster. Dragonfly, its effect is whenever you detach an equip from it, you can special summon any Inzektor monster from your deck. So that's like super good. Your second best card is Inzektor Centipede. Centipede, him, you can, whenever an equip is detached from him or sent to the grave, whatever the wording is. I'm sorry, I'm like super dumb, like I don't read the card. Let's see. Okay, when when the equip card is sent from your graveyard while equipped to this card, he basically lets you add any Inzektor card to your hand, which is spells and traps and monsters. So this guy's pretty good too. Then Inzektor Hornet, he's like the best I get equipped guy, because whenever he's sent as an equip card to the graveyard, you can destroy 1 card on the field. This card used to be like so broken. It was on the ban list for like the longest time. It's just pretty crazy. Then 3 Inzektor Ladybug. Whenever he's detached as an equipped material, you get to either increase the level of your monster by 1 or by 2. So this lets you do level manipulation. Then 2 Inzektor Hopper. Actually, like I was saying before about playtesting online with Dueling Nexus, this is a card that I've kind of been realizing sucks. Like there used to be a ruling back in the day that you could do it like first turn, but now it turns out that ruling was BS, because this card you can't use it first turn, because his effect is whenever he's detached as a material, as an equipped card, I mean, he lets the monster that was equipped to it attack directly, And since you can't attack on your first turn, you can't use this effect on your first turn. So this card's really dumb. And then also, like, you can only do it once, so because only that monster can attack for the rest of the turn. So you can't, like, if you have Dragonfly in this, you can't do anything with it. But it's probably like the best Inzektor monster that you're not already playing, because the other ones just suck. And then one Gigamantis. Gigamantis is the level 6 guys. They can equip from your hand. So if you have this in your hand, you can target one of your Inzektors on the field, and then you equip it to him. And then with Gigamantis, they gain attack. Their attack becomes 2400, which is his attack. And when this card's sent to the graveyard while equipped to a monster, you get to, like, reborn a monster. And there's a lot of cool plays you can do with this guy. And then one Giga Weevil. Giga Weevil has pretty much the same effect as Gigamantis, except that instead of adding attack, he adds defense. So that's why he's not a holo card. And this card just looks so cool in Ultimate Rare. But there's a lot of cool combos you can do. Like, if you open, like, this kind of thing, like, with Hornet, you can do the combo. Like, this is, like, a really sick combo right here. Like, you'll summon your Dragonfly, equip Giga Weevil from your hand, then equip Hornet with Dragonfly's effect, use Hornet's effect to destroy Giga Weevil. Then you'll get to summon 2 monsters from Dragonfly's effect, because you lost 2 equip cards off him, or her, or whatever it is. Then you'll get to reborn your Hornet back to your field, and then you can just keep going from there. Like, you can do a bunch of crazy plays. That's pretty much what this deck does. This deck is kind of hard to play if you're not familiar with it. You need to really learn a lot of combos, because there's just so many times you can do so many different things. And then you got to remember, like, a lot of the Monster Reborn effect on these cards is only once a turn. So you got to remember that, because back in the day, a lot of people would cheat and just keep using it over and over until, like, you're playing against a real player and he'd be like, nah, it's like you can only do it once a turn. Then for, like, the little support card, I'm playing 2 Danger Mothman. This card's good because it can discard, the Inzektors that are equipped monsters to your graveyard, and you can draw a card. And he's also good because he's a level 4 insect, and the Inzektor Link monster only requires insects, so this could be a good extender. Like, it's just a really good card, has a lot of synergy. You can also use it with Allure of Darkness, and since it's a danger in the dark. That's it for the real monsters. Now for the hand traps, I'm playing 3 Ash Blossom because it's probably, like, the best hand trap right now. It works against, like, almost every deck. And then I'm playing 2 Nibiru. I think Nibiru is really important in this deck because if they have, like, a bunch of negates, like with Boral, Savage, and those kind of cards, there's just no way you can play around it, because this deck really, really needs the normal summon to go through, and it really needs the first effect to go through. So this card just helps you get rid of stuff, and the token, you can always pop it off with Dragonfly. With Hornet, So it's really easy to get rid of it. That's it for the monsters. Now for the spells. 3 Called by the Grave, because you really want to make sure that your plays go through so you can't lose to stuff like Veiler. Veiler used to be like the vein of this deck's existence, because this deck came out right when Veiler got, like, that super reprint. It was a special edition of Order of Chaos, so everyone had Veilers at that time, because they were pretty expensive. I think even for the rare, they were about $15. So having that super rare copy come out and having it, like, you could get a playset of fake Veilers for about $12 to $15, just made it so, like, a lot of budget players could start playing a fake Veiler. And nowadays we just have so many hand traps that kill this deck. Even Ghost Ogre is really good against this deck, because you need, when you activate your monster's effect to equip, and they chain Ghost Ogre, it destroys your monster, and there's nothing for your equip cards to equip to, so you pretty much just lost your play. 3 Allure of Darkness. When this deck was, like, meta relevant, I think this card was at 1. Just having this at 3, it's always been crazy to me, because this card's, like, always been on the list as long as I've been playing until just recently. This is a card that I really recommend if you're going to play this deck. Dark Ruler No More, because, like I said, this deck can get rid of established boards, but if they have, like, any kind of negation with, like, a Boral Savage Dragon or they have some monster that can't be destroyed by card effects or stuff like that. Just having a card like this is going to really help you against that. And just vanilling all your opponent's monsters and then popping them off with Hornet is always going to be really good. And you can set up like a decent field afterwards depending on how good of a hand you drew. So you can even set up sometimes like your own negates, which is pretty funny. 2 Cosmic Cyclone. I'm playing this over Twin Twisters because of the Eldritch matchup, and because this card's also sometimes you can like randomly use it to like get rid of your equips. Like, let's just say you drew like a really garbage hand, and the only play you can do is like a Centipede to equip another Centipede. And this was the play that they used to do back in the day with MST. But yeah, now you can do it with Cosmic Cyclone, I think. Or actually, I don't know if that works because it doesn't go to the graveyard. I think that actually doesn't work. I'm just talking stupid. Then for your Inzektor spells, you play 2 of the Sword. This card used to be like crazy good back in the day. Like just being able to loop a monster. This card is pretty much like that Burning Abyss, like Dante of the Burning Abyss. You get to add any Inzektor monster whenever this card goes to your graveyard. So if the monster this is equipped to gets destroyed by battle, gets destroyed by card effect, you're going to get this card's effect. And also it gives them 800 attack. And this card's just super good. I've noticed lately that it's been going up a lot because I think people think that this deck's going to get like support in the future or something. This is the card that I really needed to finish the deck. And it finally got reprinted, and I finally got my copies through the mail because, like everyone knows, because of what's going on with the coronavirus, the mail has been kind of slowed down. So I finally was able to get my copies of Cocoon of Ultra Evolution. This card's just so good in this deck. If you don't know what this card does, you tribute an insect monster that either from either side of the field, but it's always going to be from yours most of the time, that's equipped with a monster. It doesn't have to be another instant monster, it just has to be, and you just summon it to the field. So basically, like, you can play more copies of, like, let's say you have Ladybug, 2 Ladybugs in your hand, and this. You summon your Ladybug, activate Ladybug's effect to equip Ladybug. You activate your Cocoon of Ultra Evolution. Then you can summon your Dragonfly from your deck, and then you can equip that Ladybug that you sent to the graveyard for this card's effect, and you can just keep going from there and make, you know, a Baguska or something like that. And also this card has like a really broken effect that it has another effect that you can use it on the same turn it was sent. So like in that same scenario where you sent 2 Ladybugs, you don't need to have 2 Ladybugs because you only need 1 to equip. You activate this card's effect, it'll shuffle one of your monsters back into your deck, and then you draw a card, but it has to be an insect monster. So this card's just really good. It has a lot of synergy with the deck. I remember when this card first came out, I was like, man, it's actually pretty good for Inzektors. But I think Dragonfly and Hornet were still at 1 at the time. But this card's just so good. I'm really glad that it got reprinted. Then 1 Instant Fusion, because I'm playing the Millenniumizer Strict, because it's another thing to suck up hand traps. Monster Reborn. Monster Reborn's just crazy in this deck, because if they like Solemn Judgment your summon, you can just summon it back and then do stuff from there. And probably like the most important card in the whole deck, Foolish Burial, because this is the way you get Hornet or Ladybug into the graveyard. And I really love this Lost Art Foolish Burial. It just looks so cool. I wish it would have been like secret rare just to make it look cooler, but that's it for the deck. It's 40 cards main deck. Sorry that I've been like really, I just feel that this deck needs a lot of explanation because I'm pretty sure a lot of people have never even heard of this deck before. For the extra deck, Millenniumizer Strict. This card's really good in this deck because you instant fusion, you summon it out, and you can suck up, like, I didn't even know, like, I was so dumb that I didn't actually read the card effect. I thought this just equipped from graveyard, but it also equips from the field. So, like, I was playing against a deck, and he had a Crystal Wing out that he had summoned with the Wind Witches. So it couldn't be destroyed by card effect or battle, and it could negate a card effect. So I summoned Thousand-Eyes Strict, and that's the beauty of Dueling Nexus. The card was flashing, and I was like, no way I could actually use his effect. So I chained the effect, I equipped Crystal Wing to this, and then negated the effect of Crystal Wing, and I got to get my effect of my Inzektor monster. So this card's just really good in this deck. In any combo deck, I really recommend that you start playing this. And now that it's gotten reprinted, it's pretty cheap. I think it's only like, I paid like $10 for this, and it looks pretty sweet as a secret rare. Then number 20, Giga Brilliant. This card's just 2 level 3 monsters, and all monsters you control gain 300. This card's good for like random times where you can OTK, like you'll have 3 or 4 monsters up, and just giving 300 extra attack to every monster just helps with the math workout. Leviair the Sea Dragon. So when you send your stuff off with the lure, you can bring it back, and everything in the deck is level 3 pretty much. So you can summon almost anything back, and it's just like a cool combo extender. I'm playing this card as an out to Nibiru. I didn't know that this card actually has like a real effect because I was just so used to seeing it in the like the heroic champion, whatever that Dark Warrior Turbo deck, where you would get like a Regimenat or whatever that card was with like 10 materials. This card, I didn't know, but apparently it has another effect. Whenever a monster effect's activated, you detach 2 materials from this card, and that monster's effect becomes you draw 1 card. So if they use Nibiru, or if they use like any other hand trap to try to stop you or get rid of your board, you can detach the 2 materials and they draw a card, but then they lose out on that effect, and they can't activate Nibiru more than once a turn, which is just good. Baguska, there's a bunch of times where like you'll just make Baguska and pass, just because this deck is like a really slow moving train. Like it takes a turn or 2 to get going most of the time, depending on the hand you draw. Unless you draw like a crazy good hand, then you can just OTK first turn. But there's a lot of times where you have to just make this and pass, and hopefully that it'll be enough to get your next turn. For the Link monsters, 2 of the Inzektor Picophalia. This card just requires 2 insect monsters that has good arrows. When this card's Link summon, you can discard a card. Then you target one of your insect monsters control, and you can equip any monster from your deck to it. And then it gains 500 attack. This card is really good in certain times. And then it also has like the better effect, which is you can target 3 monsters in your graveyard, and then you shuffle them back into your deck and you draw a card. So it's basically like a little pot of avarice. And with your Inzektor Centipedes are always getting used up really quick because of Dragonfly, like the random combos you can do. I'll try to do a combo video later, but there's just so many different combos. Like it's just really hard to, you know, end on the right board, or, you know, just do stuff like that. I gotta do a lot of more playtesting, because I have been playtesting this deck for a while, but every day I like figure out like, okay, instead of doing this, I can do that. Union Carrier, because this deck revolves around you know, equipping monsters to each other, and I kind of want to play that little dragon guy, the one that lets your opponent not special summon from the extra deck, because the whole deck is dark, and I can equip him to a dark monster. So I think I gotta, like I said, I gotta do more playtesting, but I think I might be adding that in. I don't know what to cut yet. Maybe a copy of Inzektor Hopper, but I'm not sure yet. Then Nightmare Cerberus and Nightmare Phoenix, just 2 good rank 2s that you can make, and they also discard cards. And also with like certain hands, you can just create like your crazy boards. So you can have like your Nightmare Cerberus stopping your Link monsters from being destroyed by card effects, or your Nightmare Phoenix stopping them from getting destroyed by battle. Trigate Wizard, because there is actually like boards you can make, like I said, because with certain hands, like you can just loop Dragonfly so many times that you can make this card actually, you know, negate a card. Nightmare Unicorn, it's just good. That the arrows are really good too. I like those. Nightmare Griffin, Borosaur Dragon, because you can just OTK a lot of times with this card. It's just dumb. And then the last card is Saruja. Saruja, you can make it pretty easily in this deck when you draw like your crazy hands. And yeah, that's it for the deck profile. I will try to do like a combo tutorial, because this deck is really, like I said, this deck's really hard to play sometimes, depending on like what your opponent has. Like you really sometimes you really just have to think about it, because if you mess up and you forget, like you already used your like your Gigamantis or your Giga Weevil, and then you try to do it again, you're like, oh shoot, I already used it this turn. It just can mess you up. And then knowing what card to search at what time, It's just really vital. This deck does take a lot of time to learn. I've been playing it like this build specifically for like 2 weeks, and I get really bored with decks easily, so I usually just try to like play like 2 or 3 games with one, then I'll switch to another one. But this deck is probably like my favorite deck right now, and it's not like super competitive. It's not like, oh, I don't know why people aren't playing this deck. I know why people aren't playing this deck, because it's not that good. It's not consistent enough. It needs more cards. It needs updated cards is what it needs, because it has a lot of broken cards. Obviously these cards were on the ban list, so they're good, but there's just so many like hand traps. There's so many monster negates. A lot of the times you just can't play through that, and that's the problem with older decks. They got power crept, you know. And this deck was so good back in the day. Even back in the day, like this. What's funny enough about this deck is this deck didn't even win a YCS at full power. When it won a YCS, it was when Dragonfly and Hornet were limited to 1, and the dude was playing like threatening roars just to build up advantage. And back then you could actually do that because the game wasn't as fast. But nowadays, if you don't have a good board, but like game 1 or game 2 against certain decks, you just lose because they draw 5 cards, or they drop 4 big monsters, or they just drop a Boro Lord or Boro Sword Dragon and another monster and OTK you like that. And that's just how Yu-Gi-Oh is nowadays. Yeah, you can complain about it all you want, but I still think the game's fun. Like, I have a lot of fun playing this deck, even though it's not, you know, super competitive. I've won against Adamanticators, I've won against Eldritch, I've won against like the Needle Fiber decks with this deck. So it's not impossible, but like you just have to really draw a good hand. And sometimes, you know, you get helped out by your opponent not drawing a not so great hand. So yeah, guys, till next time, this is your boy Ivan. If you did watch the whole video, I really appreciate you a lot, because I know this is a long deck profile, but like I said, I really like this deck. I really wanted to explain everything. If you guys have any questions, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be doing that combo tutorial. I'll try to do it, you know, within the next few days. I got to do like more testing to make sure that I'm doing the combos the right way, because like I've noticed, I'm pretty dumb. Like I just mess up so many times. Like I'll be like, okay, I could do this and that, and then I'll end up like, oh wait, I forgot I can't do that. And yeah, that's the thing you learn through playing a lot. And hopefully this inspires somebody to pick it up, or if it does get support, like please give this deck support. Till next time, guys, I'll see you later.